My Lords, in case everyone thought that a bout of consensus had broken out, I beg to differ. I do have some reservations about this group. I actually find myself at odds with the Noble Lord Addington, which neither of us will be surprised by, but I also find myself at odds with the Noble Baroness Brady, which maybe is more surprising having been through committee. But let me just raise some of my reservations. We've been consistently told that this legislation is necessary to protect football clubs precisely because they are such intrinsic parts of our community and interwoven into our society. And for me, it's that authentic, organic relationships with local areas and generations of fans that I'm worried this bill could undermine. And so I'm not convinced that the clubs need a regulator to add something which could become a performative and unnecessary corporate governance duty. And that's one of my reservations. I was also somewhat surprised to see the government's Amendment 32 and making a club's contribution to the economic and social well-being of its local community part of its corporate governance, because I felt that somehow that was quite insulting, as though clubs need officialdom to tell them to be socially responsible. But actually that is, as indeed the Noble Baroness Brady indicated, very much the ecosystem of connectedness that's in clubs' DNA. And I just do think there is a danger of over-regulation here. But also in a later group on regulatory principles, the government's Amendment 18, which, by the way, I really do welcome, because it states that a regulatory principle that the independent football regulator should have regard to whether it is necessary before it imposes any requirement or restriction, and also ask the IFR to consider whether a similar outcome would be achieved by a less burdensome means, seems to me to fail. Or Amendment 32 seems to me to fail that test. I'm just worried about putting on the face of a bill a regulation that could be interpreted as asking football to take on responsibilities far removed from football in a regulatory fashion that makes them behave sitting somewhere between social engineering and social work. So I'd like some reassurance that this won't be contradicting or adding a burden of regulation onto clubs for what they already are doing, and why do we need to have it written down in this bill?